The Noob Trap of Diablo 4 by this guy right there. And as we already know, he's not exactly the smartest tool in the shed, but there is a chance that he may be right about this.
Tier 2 is a noob trap. This is a video directed at me. I find it very polite of Don to move his camera over the other side.
I don't.
That way, I don't have to move my camera whenever I watch the video. Very polite of him to do that.
I'm offended
World
though.
Tier 2 is a noob trap. And when I say that World Tier 2 is a noob trap, what I mean is not that if you play World Tier 2, you're a noob. It's just that currently the game's not very well balanced. And you're taking on
Like any Blizzard game, honestly.
actually more difficulty for less rewards by playing it over playing World Tier 1. So World Tier 1 and 2 are the tutorial. They're the start of the game, and they're not really like the actual end game challenging parts of this. You can pretty much make this equivalent to going and playing through the storyline part of Path of Exile or other ARPGs before you make it to like the maps and end game systems. You don't really start getting Paragon points, which is definitely a big part of the end game power curve, until you
I think he could be right about this. I actually think so.
hit level 50, and you don't get
Statistically, yeah, I already touched upon it before. If World 2, to put it in the most simplest terms, if World Tier 2 is like 20, 30, or even 50% more experience, but you take twice as long to kill mobs, it's actually statistically not worth doing World Tier 2 because it's just not efficient. It's simple math.
access to basically any of the end game systems, like the Tree of Whispers, Helltide. Actually, I think Tree of Whispers is in the end of leveling up, but you don't get
Dungeon
access to
numbers guy crunch stuff.
Helltide
Yeah, this guy
or
plays
Nightmare
PoE.
Dungeons,
Well, I know who
or
he
even
is.
like the better gear mods on Sacred and Ancestral items, or Uniques, even until you get to World Tier 3. Therefore, you kind of want to spend as little time as possible in World Tier 1 and World
That
Tier
is
2
true.
if you're looking to be efficient. If you're just looking to have fun and just
Yeah, I do think I'm going to play through the game in World Tier 2 because I think that it will make for better content than just speed running every single boss and like one tapping it in like three or four hits.
True.
But I think that he's probably right.
Also, I would like to add that Blizzard has had a long, long history of doing things like this. For example, in Diablo 3, when they introduced adventure mode, leveling up to 60 was not the fastest in the highest Inferno difficulty or whatever it was at the time. It was actually the fastest in like difficulty 2 or difficulty 3 or something like that, because then you could literally just one shot everything, but in the Inferno difficulty it took forever to kill things, so it was super slow.
blast mobs and just enjoy your time.
Like
And
if I was playing off stream solo, I would just do it in World Tier 1.
by all means, take your time, enjoy it. Especially if you're not a content creator, there's no real reason to rush too much unless you enjoy the rush of competing against other people. But for
Normal.
myself personally and the guys I'm going to be playing with and Gal, we're going to be trying to push to level 100 as fast as possible and hopefully be one of the first teams to
That's
do
gonna
so.
be the race.
So,
All right.
how do you get to World Tier 3? First, you have to do two things. You have to complete the campaign on any character. And so you can complete that campaign on the pre-season and then carry that forward forever. You never have
Oh, really? Wow. I didn't even know that. Holy shit. Only casual players play easy mode, though? Well, what he's saying is, like, so he's comparing the World
That's not
Tier
a
1
problem,
and World
though.
Tier 2 to doing the campaign in Path of Exile. Most people that do the campaign in Path of Exile, like for me, I've done the campaign in Path of Exile over 20 times.
And you don't want to
I
do
know
it
exactly
anymore.
what's going to happen. I know how it's going to happen. I know what it's going to be.
Yep.
Right? Like all the bosses, I get the way the bosses work, etc. And that's for me only. This guy's probably done 100 times. So our goal when doing the Path of Exile campaign is to just complete the
speed
campaign
blitz
and
it.
get it over with as fast as possible.
Yep.
Because the real content that we're going for is the end game content.
Yep.
And the end game content isn't in World Tier 2 or World Tier 1. It's in World Tier 4 or 5.
Probably.
And that's where you want to get as fast as possible.
And by the way, being a casual absolutely has nothing bad, honestly, in being a casual nowadays at gaming. A lot of games are literally built for casuals because it's the minority of people who want to be super hardcore about it. Okay?
So it's the opposite as casual. It's like you're doing World Tier 1 because it's more efficient, because it'll get you to World Tier 3 faster.
Yep.
We're crucifying the guy now? No, what he's saying makes sense.
Yeah.
To
It
do
was
the
a good
campaign
shot
ever
that
again.
happens.
And then you also have to finish the capstone dungeon on World Tier 2.
Yeah.
But you only have to complete the capstone dungeon on World Tier 2. You don't have to do anything else at all on World Tier 2.
Yeah.
So
Good.
you can just basically play on World Tier 1 the entire time, and then when you feel ready to take on that challenge, you just flip it up to World Tier 2, hop in the capstone dungeon, finish it off, and then flip it up to World Tier 3. Don't have to do anything else. So basically, you want to get through the story as fast as possible, and then you want to get experience and gear as much as possible, as quickly as possible, so you can take on that capstone challenge.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Yeah, like your goal in World Tier 1 and 2 is to complete the Tier 2 capstone dungeon. Like if you are an
pretty
in-game
much.
focused player that only wants to make your character as strong as possible,
Yeah.
that is your goal.
Also, if you just care about the story and lore, you're probably also better off playing it at World Tier 1, the easiest, because what do you care? If you want to see the story, then, there's no reason to do a World Tier 2.
is World Tier 1 or World Tier 2 faster for XP and gear? Well,
More
the
XP,
rewards
more
for
gold.
World Tier 2
Horrible.
In World Tier 2, you have 20% more experience in gold.
That's
okay,
horrible.
So let's look at some logic, right? So if World Tier 1 is 100% like health and damage,
Yes.
and World Tier 2 is 150%. So
I knew he's gonna get this wrong. I'll explain why this way of thinking is incorrect. But he could save it, Asmongold. You gotta save it.
that would mean World Tier 2 is effectively, like, it will take you approximately 50% more time to complete the game. So you're taking 150% versus 120%. So if you can clear 50% faster, the 20% bonus is not worth it.
Okay, so he is 75% right here. The thing he is not mentioning here, and it doesn't sound like he's going to mention, is the fact that, well, if it's just a 50% HP boost to creatures, but you get 20% more experience, you should bump it up to World Tier 2 if you can still one-shot everything. Because as long as you're one-shotting everything and not spending extra time for, that experience, you're actually the winner by bumping it up. But obviously that's not going to be the case for a lot of classes. But, just so you know, if you can one-shot everything on World Tier 1, and you can pretty much just one-shot everything at World Tier 2, you should probably be playing World Tier 2 because it is going to be then more efficient. It all depends, can you just one-shot things?
Because for how much faster you can clear at a lower level. Do you see kind of how that logic works?
Yes.
as follows. Monsters give 20% increased experience.
Yeah, it's basic math,
Monsters
yes.
drop 15% more gold. And you can note right away that these benefits don't affect quest experience, explore experience, or any source of
That's true.
experience
It's only mob
except
kills.
from monster deaths.
Yeah.
So it's only monster related stuff. And these enemies are more challenging. And I can definitely tell you from playing through the campaign on World Tier 1 versus World Tier 2 that World Tier 2 is much more difficult than it is on World Tier 1. It will definitely take you a lot longer to fight
He's probably right about that. That it's not 50% like increase in HP and whatnot. He's probably right about that also.
everything. And it's definitely slower. That might not be all that much slower when you're like level 10.
I wish they would give it more gear upgrades. Like, give it like a magic find bonus. Like, make it to where like you get 50% more rewards or something like that. Because I feel like
That would also probably be okay. That would be an interesting situation because then it would be worth to get to go World Tier 2 to just get the gear really faster, and then switch it up to give World Tier 1 back.
this is kind of bad balance.
Oh,
Like
it's
you
Blizzard
should
balance.
you should want it to be the most efficient thing to do is to do the hardest content.
Oh yeah,
I
but
find that a
it's
lot
Blizzard.
of times it's very boring in games where the meta is to farm easy content and do it really fast.
Yeah, literally every
I
Blizzard
think
game
that's
ever.
less fun than farming hard content and doing it more slowly.
Yep. But that's Blizzard for you.
And you've just freshly put 7 points into
yeah.
your main core skill, but especially as you level up.
I think
and
that
your
also,
power
like,
level
PoE does a good job of kind of incentivizing both things, right? Where you have, like, Magic Find builds that clear lower level maps and they get really good Magic Find multipliers. And then you also have, like, good builds that are able to, like, clear bosses, etc.
Do people actually do that? Because I do not follow PoE people. I don't know. Do people really do that?
But I don't think that Diablo 4 is going to be expansive enough to provide a world where, like both of those types of gameplay are equivalent.
It could be though.
from your
but
passive
small
points
chance.
is going down with every
I don't
level.
like Magic Find either.
It is going to become bigger and bigger gap between the two of them. So why play World Tier 2 then? You only really want to do this if you want a slower, more challenging, more grindy early game experience.
True.
This is not going to get you to end game any faster.
And that's
It's not
probably
gonna
gonna
make you
be
any
fun.
more or less of a gamer, but it
Yeah, I think I will still play World Tier 2 on release because I just think that it will make for better content. It will be more thematic when fighting bosses if they take more time.
Yeah,
Rather than
that's
just
true.
like fighting them and it takes like 5 seconds and then it's over. Okay, done.
Yeah.
Now what?
will delay your time to endgame. So if you want to
it's
play
ma-
with your
it's
friends in
mainly for
endgame,
content.
you really don't want to play in World Tier 1. So how about some math? So since World Tier 2 adds 0 extra loot, I want to
Okay.
remind you, the rewards are increased experience.
Oh, I know what he's gonna say. If World Tier 2 adds 0 extra loot, you're technically reducing your magic find capabilities because you're deleting less things.
For monster kills and
It makes
increased
sense.
gold drop for monsters. Nothing else about loot at all. There's no more legendaries, more loot drops. There's no additional loot from World Tier
Yeah.
2. That means that if you're slowed down by even 1% by switching up to World Tier 2, that means you're getting less loot. Let me repeat that again.
True.
If you
He's
are
right.
slowed down by playing in World
Yep.
Tier 2 compared to World Tier 1 by even 1%, that means you are getting less loot for the same time
Yeah.
playing. And then if you're
And
slow
also, by the way, I don't even know if this is true. Because think about it in practice. Because in practice, whenever you're killing more mobs, you're going to be getting more loot. And whenever you get more loot, you can sell the loot.
Yes.
And whenever you can sell the loot, you can get the gold.
Yes.
So you might actually still come out ahead even if you're doing it at the exact same speed.
by 17%
Oh, I get what he says.
or more,
Yeah, maybe.
you are also getting
But it's doubtful,
less
honestly.
experience, since 83% speed times that 1.2 XP multi is at 99.6% XP. So that means you only break even on XP at 16% slowed.
Yeah.
So if you're like 5% slowed by going up to World Tier 2, then like you're getting a little bit more XP. But right now, the rewards for going to World Tier 2 are extremely poor.
Horrible.
Yeah.
It is
Horrible.
not worth doing it by any stretch of the imagination.
I wish
in terms-
I had noticed this in the first beta. And I think that if players had given enough feedback on this, because World Tier 2 was so easy in the first beta, because
No one
we had
cared.
so much really good gear, right? We had all the legendary effects, so it was like pretty much the exact same thing. I really wish that we had known that. Because if so, I think players would have provided enough feedback, and they probably would have changed this to be better. Because like the way that it's designed right now is bad.
Yep.
It shouldn't be like this.
for rewards.
Blizzard
So
design,
basically,
boys.
not one-shotting everything, then you're slowing down your XP
Yeah.
and your loot by playing on World Tier 2.
Yep.
World Tier 2 is kind of like the equivalent of Path of Exile League mechanics. You just don't really want to touch it at all until it's time for endgame, which is
Yeah.
capstone.
So
in this
true.
case. And yeah, I mean, I don't
So
really like that
true.
personally. I would prefer that playing on the more challenging, more difficult variant of the game provided more rewards, but right now it's just not the case.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few times, like, I remember,
Talisman
I mean, like,
League.
there was, like, 2 or 3 leagues where, especially, like, leagues that don't require you to interact with a menu, stuff like Breach, etc.,
Yeah.
is still kind of worth it whenever you're leveling up. But the problem is that,
Yeah.
like, and even Chris Wilson talked about this with,
But there's
with
very
PoE,
few of them.
that the multipliers for the mobs that were part of league content was so much higher than everything else in the game
Yep.
that it was like 300%, like 500% more health on like league
Yeah,
mobs
it's true.
versus like normal map mobs. So it was so fucking garbage.
Yeah, go try and upgrade your white weapon in a forge with level 5. You're gonna have such a horrible time.
So yeah, Scourge was good for leveling. Yeah, a few of them were okay, and especially leagues that would give you a tabula or something like that. Like
Only
I
at the very start, though.
I didn't get a tabula, but I had a lot of friends that got tabulas in certain leagues.
Now, concerning travel time, I know a lot of this came up when we were talking in chat.
To Ritual.
Travel
Yeah,
time
Ritual is
does
good.
not change between World Tier 1 and World Tier 2. Especially when
So
you're doing
is
the
Metamorph,
campaign, you're
I
still
think.
going to be running from the same spot to the same spot. Therefore, it doesn't really factor into our equation all that much. Just
Yeah.
like basic algebra, if two things are the same on the same side of the equation, or different sides of the equation, you can take them
Yeah,
away.
get rid of them.
However, you will finish the
That was 2 wrongs right there in a row about algebra.
fighting parts of the campaign faster in World
Funny.
Tier 1, so you'll get your mount faster in World Tier 1, and you'll be riding along in your
Yep.
mount while the World Tier 2 guys are still walking. And this is definitely a
true,
big
he's
deal
right.
if you're like a necromancer who
Yeah.
doesn't even have any movement skills. So I think for me,
Sad.
the strategy is going to be create character, select World Tier 1, blast right through the main story quest, just completely tunnel in on the main story quest as much as you possibly can. You still
So somebody says, I think he's overselling this. He's technically correct, but I can kill tier 2 mobs in basically just as fast as tier 1 mobs as a Sork.
Yeah, but that's a sword.
Basically just as fast. Let's talk about basically just as fast, okay?
Okay, this is gonna be interesting.
All right. So basically just as fast.
Oh boy.
Okay. So you have a mob kill time, world tier 1. Mob kill time is 1.
Don't tell me he's just gonna redo what exactly. Oh no.
1.0 seconds, okay?
Yeah. Go on.
World tier 2, mob kill time, let's say 1.1 seconds,
Yep.
okay?
10-second increase in time
Let's
wasted.
say you kill 3,000 mobs.
Yep.
So 3,000, let's go ahead and just do some calculator.
3,300.
3,000 divided by 60. So you're going to waste almost an entire hour if you kill 3,000 mobs in World Tier 2 versus World Tier 1. Even if you only save 1/10 of a second.
Oh, he's doing it in seconds. I did it in mobs. This is the doing this is the equivalent of killing now 3,300 mobs, and that's I think that's a better way to actually exemplify this, because that means you're killing 10% more mobs. That means you're killing 10% more dungeons. You know. But I understood what he meant.
Not 1 by 1, though. I'm averaging. Extra attacks take way longer than 0.1 seconds. I know. Well, what I'm saying is that even at the
It's
most,
a baseline,
I think
it's
it's 5
good.
minutes. No, it's not. What are you talking about? It's divided 60 seconds. Or so, no, you guys are totally right. It was 5 minutes. You're actually totally right. I am totally wrong. I forgot it was the fraction. Yes, it's 5 minutes. Yeah, you save 5 minutes. And the more that you do that, the more mobs you kill, the more time you waste.
He's Asmongold's confusing me. Let's actually check if he's actually right on this. Okay, so his idea is that this is seconds. So this would be how much minutes? 50 minutes And 10% of 50 is 55. So, oh yeah, it's 55 minutes. No. The people who are saying in the chat are actually correct. It's 5 minutes. Okay. And see, this is why minutes are... Well, I think when you show it in minutes, it actually doesn't matter. But this number would be bigger. Man, why did you have to ruin it, Asmon? Why? We were doing so well.
I know. Well, what I'm saying is that even at the most, I think it's 5 minutes. No, it's not.
No, let's skip ahead because we skipped back.
Or so, no, you guys are totally right. It was 5 minutes. You're actually totally right. I am totally wrong. I forgot it was the fraction. Yes, it's 5 minutes. Yeah, you save 5 minutes. And the more that you do that, the more mobs you kill, the more time you waste. So it's not about how much time you save on each individual mob. It's how much time you save collectively after doing it for 5 hours or after doing it for 10 hours or something like that. It adds up. And whenever you look at the amount of time that somebody spends doing it, like over, like, let's say 3 days, that's whenever the difference really shows.
Yep.
W streamer admitting is wrong? No, I have no problem. Like, I just did the math wrong. I didn't think about it. It's fine. Like, I don't take it personally, right? All I'm saying is that,
No.
like, it's the extrapolation of that really wastes time. And also, it's not 0.1 seconds. I think I'd probably still right, because, like, realistically, it's going to take way longer.
Realistically, we have to account the fact that killing one mob is the equivalent of killing 10 mobs in a lot of cases because you're using AoE. When you're using AoE, it doesn't actually matter because one mob is the equivalent of 500 mobs in some situations.
But it's still World Tier 2 because that 10% increase in time is still a 20% increase in experience. I think that in World Tier 2, and it's not a 20% baseline increase in experience. So, remember in Season of Mastery, whenever the only experience that you would gain that was doubled, I think it was only like quest turn-ins or something like that, and it wasn't mob kills?
Huh?
The amount of actual experience you're gaining, like rested experience in WoW is like this. Rested experience is only applied to mob kills. It's not applied to quest turn-ins.
Okay.
So, how much experience are you getting for mob kills, and how much experience are you getting from quest turn-ins?
Well, we don't know.
And like Lilith statue clicks, and renown things, and bonuses that you get from different other random stuff. I would say that mob kills are probably about half of the total experience. So you're not really gaining 20% extra experience. You're only really effectively gaining 10% extra experience. That's what I would say.
Yeah, this is not
take way longer on World Tier 2. Well, absolutely. Who cares? No one.
Actually, this is going so deep into semantics. That person is right. No one should honestly care at this point.
Why do we do this? Because we can.
Because we don't have anything better to do with our lives. I kind of think that's more like it.
Because it's fun. I know this might sound stupid, but there are people that enjoy min-maxing. Doing this is the fun part of the game.
Yeah, that's why we call them autistic. You do need to
kill some stuff as you're going through to keep up with the minimum level requirements of the zones, but it's not really all that bad from what we've seen in the first zone. Maybe it's worse in Ska's Glen or Dry Steppes. We'll have to find out. And then after you finish the main story quest, that's when you can start to like really focus on gearing up more from like running dungeons or events. This is kind of maybe a good time to finish more dungeons if you really want to finish out your renown rewards.
Damn.
Otherwise, I really wouldn't even touch like Altars of Lilith and stuff, especially not before you have them out. And then switch to World Tier 2, run Capstone, enter World Tier 3, and then I'm probably going directly to the PvP area.
I know why Blizzard is not increasing the experience for quests. Because if you increase the experience for quest per world tier, people would just switch to the highest world tier the moment they would hand in a quest. Oh, it's so obvious. Oh, why didn't I see this sooner? Oh, it's so obvious now.
Because
I think this is smart. This is like a lot of times like early mover advantage in games like this is always really good idea for PvP areas or high level areas being there first. I did this in Wrath and like I got a ton of gold out of doing that. Are you actually going to start in World Tier 1 or are you just saying you understand his point? No. I'm going to do World Tier 2 because I think it'll be better content.
From the very start?
That's the only thing I care about. I stream for content.
there's probably not going to be very many
Actually, he streams from crippling loneliness.
people there at all. And granted, you probably won't bump into many people, period, in the PvP areas. But in World Tier 3, the only people that are probably going to be there, the people that are going super duper fast from like World Tier 1, and they probably don't want a PvP. They probably just want to focus on farming it out. And so here, the PvP area is a really great spot to farm for loot. Now, if you like this and you like more information about Diablo 4 mechanics, I do have a series that I've kind of animated here a little bit. It's called Diablo University. So far, I've done videos on Paragon, Lucky Hit, some gem stuff. They did update a lot of the gems in the last Server Slam, so I might need to update this a little bit, but it gives you a general idea of gems and how Fortify works. There's definitely some Fortify mechanics that I was a little bit surprised about, so I highly recommend these videos, and maybe I'll put a button to
Quinn completely jizzed about the Fortify mechanics. It was disgusting.
this playlist up in the air here.
This is a really good
I'm
video.
going to put this whole presentation in the description below. You can just link this to your friends if you're trying to have a hard time deciding whether or not you want to do
it's a good video.
World Tier 1 or World Tier 2. But thank you much for watching my video. We'll see you again next time.
Yeah, see, this is the way videos need to be. It's a point, and then there's algebra to explain why the point is accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's an advertisement for other videos that explain similar points, and the video's over. That's it.
Felt forever, though.
That's all we want to see. We want to see. Let's see the numbers. Let's see how it works. Let's see how it fits together. See if it makes sense. It does make sense. Good video. Yeah, definitely a W with this one. Absolutely.
That's true if you're making tutorials. In any case, well, is that the over part? I think it is. What a time to be alive. Wow, absolutely unbelievable. Anyways, I'm out. Bye.